May the 27th, 2022 bulletin for the Quasidb customers. TGIF. It's been quite a long week, but I got lots done, and I learned quite a lot about Visual Basic, which I'll talk about at the end of the video. And the whole purpose of that is to automate trades from a spreadsheet. And if we can get that done, that would be amazing. So that's something that I'm currently working on. So risk on at the big picture and at the 24-hour change. The fact that VIX didn't really spike aggressively was probably like the tell, and you know, the fact that we didn't really go above 30 and it kept getting crushed below 30. It's a psychological handle. It's got an importance there. So if we keep getting crushed, we're going to break the yearly pivot, and that is going to be strong for risk. The yearly pivot is based on the low of the year to the high of the year and the midpoint between the two values. If we go below that yearly pivot, that's going to be quite strong for risk sentiment. So note that the Aussie and the Kiwi and the pound are also buy as well, and they're risky currencies, so that would tie in and feed into the risk on theme. Aussie strength, but you do note that the dollar, the US dollar, has now weakened. Now it's weakening, shall I say, and it's lost its top spot against the CAD. So dollar CAD, if you're looking for a very long-term position, might be a short, because the CAD is currently stronger than the USD. That's fluctuated quite a lot this week, but that's a potential scenario that you might want to do if you're like looking for, you know, positional trade over time. UC short might be good, but you'd want to keep an eye on that ideally. You can see how the dollar is weakening as well, so that would add to the UC short idea. Yeah, so have a look at that potentially, get a good entry. Aussie is behaving, so that's good. CAD isn't, Swiss isn't. Euro is for a sell, pound is for a sell. Remember, these are the baskets, daily baskets as well. That's chopping, that's mixed, and that's mixed. So bit of a mixed picture there on the daily time frame, but it is still really early, and there's lots of movement to come. There's the shifting of sentiment since last Friday. If you remember, last Friday we were almost at the precipice of a crash, and the world was going to end. And obviously it wasn't never going to happen. And what's happened is that we're seeing a shifting on sentiment, and so they're really short on FTSE now, which is like, that would be normal, and they're short in the US 30. See, that would be normal. They have to be conditioned to be fearful, and that's why these are buys, because they shorted it. And they've done the same with the Euro USD and the France, and they've done it the same with oil as well. So that is interesting. A strong oil would add to this thesis here, like I said just now. So that might be a good one. So there's that. There's the big shift in the sentiment since last Friday, and this tips the big picture back to risk on. See above, which we just said. There's the buy on the S&P. This is a potential sell. So if they do try and buy this dip, which it's possible, they'll look at this and go, oh, it looks like we were going to rally, and so they might look at this price performance and they think, I'll have some of that. That looks quite good. So if they go long collectively, it will cause this to come up, and then of course price will come down. So we're still not out the woods yet. We still want this to be below 50%, and we're 55%, so it's still at a high level. It's a sell until we break 50%. So we might need one more flush potentially. Gold is quite naughty because it made a sell. Okay, admittedly we did fall, but when we went up, and we made another sell, and yet we went up. So I think it wanted to get these stops. If you remember yesterday, the stop loss clusters were close. The 18, can't remember, 1860, 1840, something like that. They were quite close, so it looks like it might have been a probe of that liquidity there. It might have been 1850. I can't remember. You'd have to look at the stop loss cluster, but their stops were close on yesterday, so it might have been a run to take that liquidity, which is quite naughty, but that's just trading for you. So the 30-year spiked yesterday. It's actually spiked quite a lot, so that might be a little bit of a concern. However, we don't have any inversion, so that's a positive sign. So that might be a bit of a worry. If we keep, if we go above 3%, that's going to be not so good. CAD yen is our best bet for US 500. Actually, no, it isn't. It's the Swiss yen I've just seen. Oh no, it's not CAD yen. God, 89% probability. So that's really good. Swiss yen is close, 85% probability. So if you want to know which way US 500's going to go, just look at CAD yen. That will give you a really good probability of US 500 direction. And what is interesting about the CAD is that we're actually quite weak on the bubbles. There, CAD's over here. So that might be interesting. See if it correlates well with the US 500, and CAD's going to sell on the sentiment. So it might be a bit tricky. Right, so let's go back up. So yeah, that's CAD yen. So if it comes up, then there's a good chance US 500 is going to come up. If it comes down, there's a good chance that this is going to come down as well. Fairly mixed, very mixed in fact. So that's that. GU could be a buy because the pound yen has deviated a lot from the dollar yen. See the big difference. So therefore we extrapolate a signal if we take out the yen. So just recording price, it was 12650. Admittedly, this would have triggered a buy like hours and hours ago, but I just recorded the price just because of just for curiosity purposes. What you want to do is get this early, and it's probably a bit too late, even though it's 6 o'clock in the morning. So that's that being said. So it might be a good one. It might be a bit late, and also we've got a huge contract expiry for GU. It's massive and expires at 3 PM today, so I would probably not take GU, or just take it for a scalp, but don't look to hold it because it's going to be very volatile. There's a huge expiry. I've never seen it so large, and the reason for that to be so large is that the BOE put a spanner in the works about the forecast. So we've got to be careful. There's got to be an L on there. So the daily sentiment shifts. We can see price, Kiwi is behaving, and Aussie is kind of behaving. The dollar is behaving. So we want them to go one way and get punished, and so that's, they're getting punished. So that would be normal, and because of that, we've got a fairly okay 46.94% failure rate. Could be a lot higher, but it is still early. And you see how the yen isn't really doing much. So once that kicks into gear, this will increase, but they need to move in order for this to increase. So yen is a terrible score, but they've not moved yet. So you can see there's been no shifting. Once they've moved, then price will go against them. So the largest mover is the dollar CAD towards buy. So that adds into what I was saying about the technicals. However, we've got to be a bit careful about that CAD bubble. The largest stop loss cluster is Euro Yen. It's sticking out like a mile. It's sticking out like a sore thumb. It's huge. It's 7.18%, 136.9. And pound is strongest and CAD is weakest sentimentally. So yeah, you've got to be a bit careful. Dollar CAD are close as well, so that's going to be tricky, very tricky. Remember the CAD yen US 500 correlation, that's very strong. So if we do see a weakening of CAD, it might be bad for the US 500 because of that strong correlation. No signals yesterday. I put a video out that went into the signals channel, and basically the sentiment and technical out been out of bonk, and the signal can only trigger if the daily time frame is technically strong buy or strong sell. And what happened is that a lot of the currency pairs were neutral or buy or sell, not strong buy or strong sell. They've got to be strong buy or strong sell. So once they are, then they then need to adhere to sentiment shifts and the baskets as well. So that's the reason for no signals, and that's good in a way because we want these checks. Like calendar, it's possible that the consumer sentiment might lift market mood. It's possible. There's probably an eye on that. And then today I'll be spending time learning Visual Basic macros to push trades to MetaTrader 4. I made huge progress yesterday because I've never used VBA 2 days ago. I was brand new to this yesterday, and I've worked out how to get signals into MetaTrader 4 from Excel, which is quite cool. And oops, so yeah, this is the so yeah, once it satisfies the criteria, then we get the signal. So we get the Aussie USD signal, but obviously we need to incorporate sentiment, and that's the next thing that I'm going to do. It might be next week, I'm not sure, but so far so good. So I'll wrap up now, and yeah, I had quite a bad sleep, so in case apologies if the video wasn't that great, but it's one of those things. It's just that bird in the background has been very noisy, and yeah, I'll speak to you guys on Monday. If I can think of anything on the weekend, I'll do that. And if not, then have a good weekend, and I'll speak to you soon.